picking back up where we left off. So what I was saying, and I think you understand, is we're talking about making smart commitments. Don't make a commitment, or you can make the commitment you make, or that you want to make, or that you're going to change over into, can be a big goal. We're talking about the methodology to reaching that goal. The commitment and the sacrifice is going to involve to reach that goal, to reach and fulfill that commitment that you're making to yourself, this promise that you want to keep to yourself, because you want to keep the promises we make to ourselves. Because when we make a commitment, we're making a promise to ourselves, right? Whether it's going to be about whatever it is. I always use, losing weight, eating right, or whatever, because that's typical commitments. But it can be many things. It can be, I'm going to commit to travel more. I'm going to commit to spending more time with the kids. I'm going to commit to getting less angry. I'm going to commit to walking in peace. These are promises we're making ourselves. We're telling ourselves, what has been happening is not working for me. So I want to do something new that works for me. That's really, in essence, what a commitment is, right? So we're making these promises to ourselves, and we want to keep the promises we are making to ourselves. And the way to keep that is not to try something drastic or extreme by the method we use to get there. It has to be something that you can do for yourself. And like I was saying with paleo, I knew that in a lifestyle choice, I could cut out those things, as long as in a festive instance with friends, I still allowed myself to have them. If I was going to say, never in your life again can you have a piece of cake, that wouldn't have worked for me. I would not have kept that commitment. I would not have kept that promise to myself. And I would have ended up failing. And that's not what we want to do. We want to keep the promises we make to ourselves. So let's make reasonable ways to get there. Same thing with working out. It was unreasonable for me to think, even with 4 to 6 times a week, that I was going to do an hour to an hour and a half each time. I cannot do that. My life is too busy. I would fail that promise to myself. I would break that commitment to myself. So I had to find and do the research and take the time and say, okay, you know what? I can work out for 20 minutes sometimes a day. So who can help me with that? So I found some, like I said, DVDs that were only 20 minutes that I could do, that helped me to keep my promise to myself and keep my commitment that I made. So whatever your thing is, you need to find reasonable, bite-sized chunk ways to get to your goal. It's all about your methodology. If we discover the best methodology for you, which is what we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks, then you will be able to keep all of your commitments. You will be able to keep all of your commitments to yourself. Now, make sure that the commitments you want are reasonable. If it's something that isn't reasonable for your life, even the commitment, I'm not even talking about the methodology now, the commitment isn't reasonable for your life, and I'm not squelching on anybody's dreams. Like I said, dream big. But if it is unreasonable for your life, and you know what that is, I'm trusting that you have the wisdom to know, then scale it to a way that works for you. It doesn't have to be a completely new dream, but just a different way of getting there and doing it. I am 49. I'm not going to be an Olympic runner, but I may win the Senior Olympics in a couple of years. So I may start, kind of training for that. That's still a medal. That's still me attaining a goal. That's still me reaching. It's just changing it to fit who I am now and my lifestyle now, right? So that's what I want to talk about. Now, after saying this, I'm going to ask you, in thinking about your commitment, the commitment you wrote down when you answered the Second Revelation Journal questions, after me saying this and going over this, is the thing you wrote down still reasonable? Is the way you were going to get there still reasonable? I'm asking. So if it wasn't, then change the thing that you were going to commit to. And if the commitment the goal you want to reach is still reasonable, say, no, Erin, yeah, the goal is still reasonable, but maybe I need to look at the methodology on how I was going to get there. Maybe I was thinking of doing something too extreme to get there. So before we do that, because you're not going to even think about your commitment, I'm just, we're not going to do the commitment challenge of you keeping the commitment that you made or that you decided until next week. That's your challenge week. We are still at R, which is recognize. And so this week you are going to, before we get to your commitment challenge week, and that's going to be, I have something different in store for you there too, which is kind of really fun. And I can't wait for you to do it. But this week you are going to do my commitment challenge for you. Okay. So this week, you will be doing, next week you will be doing your own. This week you will be doing mine, which gives you even more time to think about your own, right? Because after everything I've talked to you about today, you need to make sure that your commitment is reasonable and your methodology to getting there is practical and reasonable and healthy and balanced. And sometimes we have a bad connotation over those words, like we're squelching our dreams. You're not squelching your dreams. You're making a mature decision on how to best meet your goals. Okay. So anyway, back to me, because I have my own commitment challenge for you this week. And I also want to say this: if one of your commitment is committing to weight loss, I urge you not to find a diet. Please don't find a diet. Find an eating lifestyle that you can stick to for the rest of your life. And if you must find a diet, then find an eating lifestyle that you know you can stick to after your diet is over. I just ask that because fat diets do not work. Lifestyle changes work. So find something. It may take longer to get there, but when you get there, you'll stay there, and you'll be able to stay there for the rest of your life, because all of the things you did to get there are things that are within your power and reasonable for you to do, that yes, may involve a sacrifice, but you can get there. I know I keep beating that into your head, but I think it's important for you to know. Okay. So, also, I forgot to tell you, I always have a story. To tell you the story I have about when I wanted to save money. I wanted to save money, and I was in my marriage, and we'll talk about more of that in the third revelation. But I was in my marriage, and I wanted to save money because we didn't have a plan to save money. And when we had money, we would just spend it, and it wasn't going well. We weren't building a savings like we should. So I came up with a plan that every paycheck with each of us that we got, we would spend 10% on this that we wanted to give based on our faith to our church. Then we would spend a such and such percent that we would put into savings, and then a such and such percent that we had for fun, because we knew that, or at least I knew that we needed to do something that we enjoyed, that was fun. You can't work that hard and not have just a slice of it for something enjoyable. So we had a percentage that we wanted to give for faith reasons, percentage that we wanted to put away for savings reasons because we're all getting older, a percentage for fun, and then the rest was for bills and things like that. So I just wanted to share that with you, just in case your commitment is money related and you're thinking of, I'm going to have this paycheck and I'm going to put all of this to savings. That may work for some of you. Maybe you can do that. For me, like I said, I need bite-sized chunks. I need to have a slice where I'm living life, where I'm doing something that makes me happy and that brings me joy. All of the money that I work for can't all go into one thing. I need to have something that's going to be for fun, and then I can put this other side for savings, and then I could put this other side for, insurance or an emergency or whatever. Maybe you have an emergency fund. Just decide and budget your things based on your life, on what you need. Now, maybe, like I said, you're different than me and you can do nothing and just save all of your money. I couldn't. I could save a percentage of my money and then have a percent for fun, then have a percent for other things. Okay. And also too, maybe you're a mom, right, with a few kids. And because I have cousins and friends who are mothers, and their car often looks like a tornado hit it. And if you're a mom, you know exactly what I'm talking about right now, right? So committing to never having a messy car is a recipe for failure with kids. You know that, I know that, we all know that. Instead, commit to getting it cleaned, or cleaning it twice a month, something that you know you can do. So for those precious few days, your car will look like you want it to look like. But make those cleaning car days something that you can and will commit to. And maybe make it a fun thing with all the kids. Okay, we're all gonna go out and clean the car. And maybe they learn, you know what I mean, when they have to clean up their own mess, when you make it a group effort to clean the car and maybe vacuum and do little things out, that they'll understand, and maybe, who knows, that will help them to take it more seriously when you're in the car and not have everything going everywhere. These are with little kids, they're just going to do it, and it is what it is. But older kids, if you make them clean up after their mistakes or messes, then maybe they hopefully will know, well, next week I'm gonna have to clean this up. So maybe I'll start not making a mess right now. Who knows? I don't know your kids, you know your kids, but that's just, I want to put that out there. Don't make something unreasonable. Don't set an unreasonable goal for yourself that you cannot keep. Okay, so the point is to begin, but not to begin with an outrageous goal that you will only keep for 2 seconds, like a New Year's resolution, right? We've all been there where we make those New Year's resolutions January 1st, and then by January 5th, it's a wrap. So we're not doing that. We're changing in a reasonable, sustainable way so that you can have a new reality on the other end of this. That's all for next week. Just things to think about. Okay, so my commitment challenge for you is this week is to declutter. Yay! Whoosh. Okay, that was me doing the cheer, like, okay. Anyway, so you are going to declutter, and you can declutter in an area in your home that you've always wanted to declutter. So you can declutter your car, your garage, your kitchen, your drawer. We all have those drawers with all the stuff in it, and we're always like, one day I have to get to this drawer. Go through bills, bills you've been putting off, stuff, paperwork, insurance things, IRS, we all know, student debt things, paperwork you've been putting off, but you haven't gotten a chance to get to this week. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to declutter it. You are going to declutter it. Declutter that stack of paperwork. You can do, if it's not paperwork and you're one of those people who are all on it, then you can spring clean, or maybe you don't want to do paperwork. So other alternatives, spring cleaning your home, getting rid of the clothes that you can't fit anymore, no longer wear anymore, stuff like that, or that you don't use anymore, whatever it is in your house that needs spring cleaning. Or my favorite, which is what I'm going to do as I do my own declutter challenge, is a digital spring cleaning. Declutter your email box, all the stuff in your sent folders or whatever. Declutter your documents. Get all of those pictures off your phone that you never use that are just taking up space. Your files on your computers that you keep saying that you're going to save to a hard drive, but you still haven't done it. And trust me, I do know the thing of one day my computer went down and I hadn't been saving my stuff, and I almost lost all of my stuff and went into a crazy panic. So it's good, because we always say we're going to put that stuff on a hard drive, or maybe it's time for you to just declutter by figuring out how the cloud works. I know no one knows how the cloud works, but it's there. Figure out how that works and how you can put your documents in it or take your documents out. Whatever it is that you've been saying that you were going to do. Maybe you've been saying that you were going to take all your digital pictures and put them in an actual photo album that you can hold in your hands. Guess what you're going to do this week? That thing. So whatever that thing that has popped into your brain, into your head, when I've been saying all of this, that thing, that's what you're going to do this week. That is my declutter challenge for you. Declutter. Why am I asking you to do this? Because it is time to create space. Sorry. Hit the computer. It's time for you to create space. When you create space, it helps you to commit to the other goals that you want to commit to. So it's time for you to create space in a way, it really is spiritual. It's almost hard to describe, but when you do spring cleaning and you clean things out and get rid of things that you no longer need, it creates space in your heart and your mind for that new thing that you need to do. Trust me on it. It absolutely does. When I spring clean my house, when I go through stuff and get clothes together and think, okay, these are the clothes I'm going to take to the shelter to help out people, it makes me feel good. I'm doing something good, but it just opens my house. The energy level literally changes. Same thing on my computer. When I get rid of those documents or just go through things, there's just something, it's almost like my computer goes, like everything exhales. it's a beautiful thing. And so I want you to experience that. So when next week, when we do our commitment challenge, and that's going to be, like I said, I have some interesting things added to that. So we're not even thinking about that. We're not starting that yet. This week, you're doing what I want you to do, which is to declutter. Declutter spring cleaning, declutter a drawer, declutter your car, declutter your computer, but you are going to declutter and get rid of the old so we can bring in this new commitment, and you have the space to receive it, the space to give it more, the space to accomplish it. Now that we understand that our methodology needs to be bite-sized chunks to get there, something sustainable that we can do over time, let's create the space in our hearts and our mind to receive this new thing that we now know how to approach differently. Okay? I think you understand where I'm coming from. All right.